Hey guys, Sean Terry here, flip2freedom.com. Hope you are doing well today. All right, now in this video, we're going to talk about how to make logical offers, right? That is the number one problem that I see people having is number one, they're not confident in their offers, or they're not confident in their numbers of what their numbers are going to be on their exit and also their offer price, or they get a property for too high a price and then they can't sell the property. Time lingers, sellers get pissed, and then you have a mess. So this video will solve that problem for you on exactly what to offer. I'm going to show you what our team uses. I'm going to show you a tool that we use. I'm actually going to give it to you for free in the description below. It's called I think it's called free giveaways or F2F giveaways, whatever. There's a link down there. You can download this tool I'm going to give you for free that my team uses. We've developed and we've had multiple different iterations and changes to this, this tool that will allow us to be able to make the right offers. All right. So before we get into it, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. This video really helped. Let's get into it.
I can't take no loss. Yeah. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah. I hit the ground and it go off. Yeah. Hit the ground and it go off. Yeah. Yeah. Run it. Ooh. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my.
All right, let's talk about this house right here. All right, so we are basically talk about this house right here, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to comp this property and talk about making a logical offer. We're going to talk about the tool. So first off, this is a house in Seymour, Tennessee. Now, if anyone ever tells you you can't do deals in small markets, this is a 15,000 population. If you look at Seymour, Tennessee, if we zoom out, it's about an hour or so, hour and a half outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, which again is another smaller town in Tennessee. So you can do deals in small markets all across the entire country. All right, so first off, we're looking at this property right here, and you got a lead that comes in, and now you got to figure out what to offer, a strategic offer. Now, I'm going to actually talk about the pitch when we're talking to a seller and how to pitch them the number and then pivot to a higher number, which is critically important because of how we do business, especially during 2023. We list most of our properties that we deal with, and I want to show you exactly how we're able to tie in the listing with conditions with the offer price. All right, so let's get into it. So we got this property right here. This is in Seymour. So I've got it here on Zillow. If you can see down here, we got this property under contract for 207. We listed it active November 29th. Seller wanted a longer close, so we kind of extended this close out. So November 29th, went contingent December 15th, and then closed on the 19th for 244. We got it for 207. So we made about $35,000 on this little house outside of Knoxville, Tennessee in Seymour with a population of 15,000. All right, so let's say we get this lead, we come in, we pull it up. Now, what happens is here we have a sold price, but what you're going to have is what's called a so let me pull up another property here for you, and I'm going to zoom out. Let's say this area right here, and I'm going to pull filter. So let's say this is the lead that comes in theoretically, right? And we're going to have, what's this? This is the estimated value, or actually this is the list price of the property. Let me find one that's off market right here. Let me find one that's, these are all coming. Let me find one that's off market. I'm going to find one that passed, let's say past 5 years. Okay, so past 5 years, I'm just going to pull a random property for this one right here. So if you go back here, what it does is it gives you a Redfin estimate. So that's what we're looking for, a Redfin estimate. On this particular property is 382. Now, subject property, you'll see on this one, it shows sold price. We're looking for, when we first initially get a lead that comes in, we're looking for that Redfin estimate right here, that Redfin estimate. We're looking for the Zestimate. It's a Zestimate on here. Now, if I go, let's say, let me go take this property right here, and I'll put it in, and I'll just put it in here for fun so we can see Zestimate. So I can go here, and it gives us a Zestimate of 362 and a rent Zestimate. So we're looking for the Zestimate, we're looking for the Redfin estimate, and then we're looking for the REI Automator. REI Automator is what we use to pull all of the data. And let's say I was going to take that subject property right there, and that's a subject property, the one we're just playing with here. And I was going to load it and then search it. It would give me an REI Automator Zestimate of 248. Okay, so we got this deal under contract, got it under contract for 207 and sold it for 244. Now, here's an actual screenshot at the time, 11/17, that this deal was signed. So we got the Redfin estimate was 388. REI estimate was 251. Zillow estimate was 299. It basically adds these numbers divided by 3, gives us an average number. Then we have the square footage of the property times these different conditions, right? So if I go to the offer calculator, we've got clean, dated 10 to 15, trashed 20 to 25. So I think Renee got this deal. So she used 15 and it was $21,000. So now what this does, it takes the average price minus repairs times 50%, gives us a initial offer, which is our, these are the offers: low offer, mid offer, high offer. And then if we want to go outside the parameter, then we need to get approval. So she went outside the parameter because she saw that there was activity in the market. And we signed that deal for 207. So it was outside the parameter, and we sold it for a higher price. We sold it for 244. So what happens is this will get you in the money. Now, if we would have signed it for 186 and sold it for 213, we still would have made 26 grand. If we would have got it for 156 and sold it for 213, we would have made 56. Or if we sold it for the 245, we still would have been in the money. And that's the biggest thing. So you understand that, I have a group of sales associates. We call them property consultants. And what I try to do is, when I'm thinking about the business, is I'm trying to McDonaldize the business. How can I make it like a McDonald's so it can just produce deals? And the biggest problem we had in my business was, how do we make logical offers to sellers without the acquisition reps or the property consultants coming to us on every single deal and go, oh, what should I offer? Oh, what about this one? Can you look at my offer price? What about this? And what happened was, it just literally was a bottleneck, and we could not get anything done. So what happens is, this calculator enables us to make offers quickly, and we're making offers that will get us in the money, that we can make money on the transaction, and will avoid that that major issue of contracting the property for too high a price, and then we're screwed. We can't sell it. Then we have to go back and renegotiate with the seller, which is difficult. So this allows us to be able to do that. Now, let's get back into it. So now, and we'll talk about how to determine exit price too, because it's important. So let's go in the offer calculator, and let's just take this. Let's take this random property right here, right? So first off, we have the Redfin estimate of 382.9. Let's call it 382 to make it easy. So we're going to go here. We're going to go take it here. We go 382,000. Then we're going to go to the REI Automator. We've got 248 for this property. So that's a big difference. Look at that, 248, 244. The same property. I just want to make sure. So if you see a big discrepancy like that, you want to make sure. So we've got 244 for REI Automator estimate, 244,000. And then we've got here we've got 362. So let's go back here to Zillow estimate of 362,000. Now let's look at the condition of the property. And we're going to look at the condition and what would we say the condition is. Now, if we're going to look at the calculator, is it clean, dated, or is it trashed? So we're going to look at this. It has white cabinets, stainless steel appliances. So we don't have to do the kitchen. It is, I mean, it's dated. It has, Formica countertops. Doesn't have granite, but not bad. There's a sink. Needs to update the sink. Carpet doesn't look bad. Walls don't look bad. Popcorn ceilings. Tile surround. So this is not bad. I mean, it's dated, but not bad. Now, it doesn't look like 2023 renovation, but if we were going to use it, I would use about $15 a foot, similar. So we got to find that square footage. We got $21.90 for square footage. So we're going to put in here $21.90 for square footage. And I like $15 a foot, $32,000 to get this sucker updated. And now we got 50, 60, and 70%. And it's going to show us a list price or an exit price at $237, which is 72% of this number right here. Now we adjust that. All these cells in yellow are adjustable, right? So this gives us a 237 exit, and we're going to start our offer here, and we're going to pivot to this higher number, right? So now, if you look at those numbers right there, those are some pretty low numbers, right? So you got literally a 293 price right there. And now we're going to offer less than half of that price. Now, motivation is a key factor. If someone's not motivated, they're not going to move forward on the transaction. So here's what we do. It's called the reverse objection method. We want to make sure they're motivated. So when we're talking to a seller, we want to make sure we're the right fit for them. So what we do is, and I almost, when we're talking to our sales reps, it's like this. If you had a friend of yours, a close friend of yours, a brother, an uncle, a relative, a grandmother, a mother come to you and say, listen, I inherited this property. It's kind of dated. It needs a little bit of work. What should I do to sell this property? I know you buy houses, you're in real estate. What should I do? Now, you would give them an honest, clear-cut recommendation of what you believe to do. Now, what we do is that we want to give them a fully honest recommendation of what we believe. That's what we call them, property consultants, on what they should do. So we say, hey, listen, why don't you get an agent and list the property that you're going to get the highest price for the property if you list it, and you clean up the property, you declutter it, you maybe get rid of the popcorn ceilings or whatever. You take most of the stuff out of the property, you kind of stage the property, and you fix all the little things on the property, right? If you go ahead and list the property, that is going to enable you to get the highest price. Average days on market are about 94 days. We'll take about 94 days to get it done or so, but you'll get a higher price. You might not get the full price you're asking for, but it should sell about 94 days or so, and you can get top price. Now, if the person you're talking to, whether it be a seller over the phone or it be a grandmother or friend, and they go, I don't want to list the property. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to declutter it. I don't want to take the stuff out. I don't want to fix the popcorn ceilings. I just don't want to deal with that. Great. Your next option, because it's not a good time to sell because the market has corrected significantly, is to rent the property. Rent the property, wait for the market to kind of come back. It could take a year, 2, 3, or 5 years or so, but at least you could hang on to it. You could get income from the property, and you could sell it at a later date, because now is not really a good time to sell it. And you're telling the seller that, you're telling your grandmother that, you're telling your friend that, right? And they go, I don't want to rent it. The last thing I want to do is deal with tenants. Okay, well, your third option is just hang on to the property and just stay where you're at. Now I know you inherited the property. It's probably not feasible to go move in there or do whatever. So maybe that won't work. So it's depending on the situation. Now, if they live there, it might be the best bet to stay in the property. So they go, no, I just need to get rid of the property and I want to do it as fast as possible. Okay, now I know that I'm the best option for them because now they're going to sell to an investor because that's their only option, right? They don't want to, they basically pushed away all those other options. So now they've got to deal with us. And that's how what we do is test motivation and want to make sure that we're the best option for them. So then what we're going to do is now we're going to talk about the numbers and the offer. Now we have the low offer and then we pivot higher to a higher number. So initially what we're doing our numbers right here. Let me go back to the screen. Go back here and we see this is that we've got to find numbers around here, 131 to 164 as our initial offer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, right? I'm going to click into this map in Redfin. I like using Redfin best. And we're going to zoom out right here and it's going to pull all the properties for sale. And then I'm going to zoom out and we know our properties in this little subdivision right here. I'm going to go over to filters, sold. I'm going to go houses. I'm going to go in the past 3 months right here. And I'm going to search and I'm going to sort by low to high. Now I've got a 50,000, 150,000. And these low ones are considered like cash transactions. I got 175,000. So remember, what happens? We've got to get between these two numbers, around these numbers right here to make our offer. And we've established there's about $32,850 for repairs. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these cash transactions that have happened. Now, do they have to be exactly comparable, exactly the same type of house? No, you can just talk about cash transaction. Well, there's a cash transaction that happened down the street from you, Mr. Seller, for 175. We got another one that happened for 150,000. And yes, even one happened for, that's smaller than yours for about $50,000. So we got some pretty low cash numbers, but there's obviously some higher numbers up here that are, fully renovated properties. But from a cash transaction standpoint, we're going to be, in these lower numbers, which brings us to an offer, Mr. Seller, of $131,860 for your property. So now you're referencing lower properties in the specific area that are essentially the low properties are cash transactions. You have low properties that are cash and higher properties that are typically regulated to conventional and FHA financing. So you say, listen, Mr. Seller, for us to pull the trigger, we're going to be at that $131,000. Now I know, that's an offer. We can write it up. We can send it and we will get this thing done. We can define a close date and we will get this done for you. Now, in this particular situation, let's say they sign it for $131,000. We will find a cash buyer that will purchase that property, either A, through talking to realtors. We'll do another video on that, or talking to realtors, or we will find cash buyers that will purchase the property for 140, 150, 160, well, not 140, but probably 160, 170. In this particular area, if we get that property for $131,000. So we are confident that at this lower number, we will find a cash transaction that will get that deal done. Now, 95% of the people are going to say, oh, that's too low. I can't do that. Now, remember, when you're negotiating with a seller and talking to a seller, your goal is get them to name their number. What is the rock bottom minimum? If we were going to take the 32,000 repairs, you're going to pay no commissions, no closing costs, and no fees. And what is the rock bottom minimum you would take for this property? Let me go see what I can do. Let me talk to my underwriter. Let me crunch the numbers. Let me figure out the highest we can do. Obviously, the market's changing. Let me see the highest we can do to be able to get this done for you, right? And we're going to have multiple different options. So you talk to them and they go, well, the lowest I'm going to do is, $200,000, right? $200,000. Well, you look at your calculator. Well, look at that right there. You're in the number. Now, if they say the lowest I will go is $300,000, then what does the conversation look like? The conversation is, Mr. Seller, I appreciate the fact and you want $300,000, but there is no way I'm going to be even close to $300,000 for your property. And the reason why is because right now the market's collapsing, interest rates are rising. In your area is pretty much an area we don't buy in. We typically buy in, areas that are a little bit more population than that. And even though you have a great house, it just doesn't fit our criteria. What does that do? It creates a certain level of doubt that it might not work for you, especially at $300,000. So we're not going to buy the property at above retail for the property because we're not going to live there. We're an investor. We have to be able to make a profit on the property. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for us. So if you're flexible in your pricing, we're not even going to be close. Now, if they say, if you can't get even close to 300, then let's not waste our time. Then you don't have to waste your time on that call. But if they go, well, listen, I just want to get it done. I told you I want to list it. I just want to get this property. I want to get it done. So now you can work on these specific numbers right here. So now what you do is you make the initial offer, right? Based upon the current cash transactions in the area. So you make that initial offer, right? The 131, they go, no, I can't sell it for that. Well, what we could do is I can pivot to a higher number, right? And if their number, let's say their number is, 170, then I would go into the 164. If there's number 200, I would go into the 197 number, right? And say, listen, Mr. Seller, we could pivot to a higher, it's a significantly higher price, but that price comes with conditions. So the conditions are this. Number one, we need to get pictures of the property inside and out ASAP. So can you commit to that condition? Yes. Okay. The next thing we have to do is you got to be flexible on some time that we can get some eyeballs on the property. And I'll explain that here in a second. Could you be flexible on your time so we can get some people to look at the property? Yes, I can do that. Okay. And you got to be timely when it's responding to our title company. We have a lot of people we work with. They're very difficult to, they want to sell their house and all of a sudden we can't get a hold of them or they ghost us or whatever. You're not going to be that type of person. If you're not that type of person, you can agree to being a timely responsive, then we can move forward with that offer. And they go, yes, I can do that. Okay, great. So here's the situation. At the 131, we can get that deal done. At the 197, we're going to have a different way that we're going to be able to make a profit. But so you understand, our motive is to make a profit. And we may not be the end buyer for the property. We either might JV with someone in the local market and do a fix and flip. We could lease the property as a rental. Who knows? We could find an Airbnb buyer and sell it to that Airbnb buyer. I might find another investor. I might find a retail buyer, and we will list the property on the MLS, and we will deal with all of any potential retail buyers. So if you're comfortable with all that, if you're comfortable with us making a profit and you don't care how we make a profit, then we can move forward on the transaction. If not, if you're not comfortable with any of that, then I have to put on the brakes because we're not the right fit for you. So what would you like to do? Would you like to get the 197, the higher price right there? And if you can work with us on helping us make a profit, if that's the case, then we can work together, and if not, then, obviously we're not a right fit. So now think about this conversation, right? In this conversation, you're being upfront, you're being honest with them. You're telling them we're going to list the property. You're telling them you're going to potentially resell the property. You could find another buyer for the property. All of that, right? Or if they want to just get it done, it could be the $131,000 and you can get it done and then game's over. You'll find a cash buyer for that property and you'll get the transaction complete. So, and we have it at these numbers. This is literally 40%, 40 cents on the dollar. You'll find a buyer at 50 or 60 cents on the dollar to get the transaction complete. So now you have that conversation. So if they see the list price, they're not going to freak out. If they see you're making a profit, they're not going to freak out. If they see that that you're having people come through the property, they're other buyers, they're not going to freak out. If you have that upfront conversation initially, you pivot to that higher price, then what happens is everything downline works out better. The whole transaction works out better. and it's full disclosure of exactly what you're doing. And it's not limiting you of how you can make a profit, because you might find someone, we've done JV deals with people in local markets. I found Airbnb buyers in markets. I found someone that bought the property that leased the property. I've listed it on the MLS and found retail buyers and sold the property for a profit. So we've done all the above. Either way, it doesn't matter, because our goal is to make a profit, right? As long as they understand that and they're comfortable with that and they don't care how we're going to make a profit, then everything is good. And it's disclosed, and it's even in our contracts that they sign off on, notating that it was explained to them fully. So again, we don't have any issues down the line. Now, let's talk about exit price. So this exit price right here is critically important. Now, I was on the phone with one of our Syndicate 9 mastermind members that had a question, and he's like, listen, he's in Maryland. He said, hey, I'm in Maryland. How do I use this calculator? And here's the thing is, we use this calculator on a national basis. He's in Maryland. He knows his market. He knows his numbers. He knows what buyers are buying for. He knows what, certain neighborhoods that work and don't work. So what I can say is this, is if you know your market, you're really comfortable with your market, then guess what? You don't really need the calculator, because you know your numbers. You can pull comps very easily and understand what buyers are buying properties for and what retail buyers are buying properties for. But on a national basis, and you get a lead in Seymour, Tennessee, about an hour and a half outside of Knoxville, what do? Right? And again, I'm trying to McDonaldize the business and McDonaldize my team, and I want to eliminate any obstacles from them going out and making an offer. So let's talk about the exit price. Now, the exit price, what we're going to do here is we're going to go back into the computer. We're going to go here. We're going to change the filter. We're going to go to for sale. We're going to go under contract. These are pending properties. There's 16 houses in the area. We're going to sort it low to high, and then we're going to look at the square footage of our property, and we're going to say, okay, 2190, it's a 3.3, and it's on 0.0 acres, right? So now we're going to go back over here, and we're going to look at 2,100 acres. My 2,100 acres. 2190 square feet, 3.3 on 0.8 acres, right? So let me go back. So we got 2190. My square feet. So we got 28, 26, 22. So we get 22 over here. Now let's see where we're at again. I just want to make sure. So I don't want to cross a major boundary. So we got the 338. We got this right here. So let me go, let me get rid of this. We've got this, and we've got the 338. So I'd like to stay around this area right here. So I'm going to look at this one. This is 1,600, 349 pending. Now we're going to look at how fast this went in 25 days. It's a 2017 built. Our property is not 2017. Our property is 1986. So we can't really use that property. It's a newer build. Let's look at this 300 right here. Again, this looks like a newer build property, 2005. So we can't really use that deal either. So let's keep looking. We got 1900 right here, 362. This went pending in 151 days. This is 1973. Thoreau's about 10 years older than this one. So we don't want to be on the market. We do not want to be on the market. Look at this right here. So we know we have to be lower than this property. We know we've got to be lower than 362 to list this property. Now, the calculator says we got to list at 237. So that's we got $100,000 of cushion right there to play with. So let's see what else we can find. We got 330. 380. Let's see how fast this went. 5 days this went. So this is a nice house. Look at super clean. This is probably fully renovated. Built in 1998, so similar. But this was fully multiple offers, best final. So this is a fully renovated, beautiful. This could be essentially an ARV for the property. So we don't know what our property, our condition. Well, it's not that one. The condition of our property is, but the bottom line is that. Let me see. Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, this is essentially dated, so it's not looking like that new property there. All right, so we've got this one at 380. So that's the high end of the spectrum. We got 2137 over here. Let's look at this one. 230. Let's see how fast this one is in as-is condition. It looks, pretty rough. 1978, and this one went in 56 days. So I think this is the low end of the spectrum at 239, and we've got the high end of the spectrum right here is 380. So we could probably list it higher because this is a 1.5. So what we're doing is we're spot checking this number right here. So the question becomes, do you think we could sell our property, right? Sorry, for 239? Right? 239 cash transfer. Could we sell for 239? Well, we're pretty much spot on the money right there. There's a really good chance. I know for a fact we could list it and sell it for 239, and that's going to give us a close to a $40,000 spread. Now we got some realtor commissions and fees, but that's going to give us a pretty good spread. So now if I go back and look right here, so that's our number right here. Could we go higher? That becomes the next question. Now we could, because this one, right, this property right here went in a matter of a couple days. So could we push it to say 249 or 259? I think there's a really good possibility we can push that number up there. And now the next check we do is we look at sold. We go back, we look at 1 month, right? And we see 9, and we sort by low to high, and we get 225 for this property, 1900, right? And we get 228. So those are a little bit lower, right? So 228. This house is older, built in 1900, so that's really not a comp right here. And then we've got this 228 that's up here. We got this one that looks kind of similar. Look at that, 237, but it's only 15. So could we, and this sold in the last 30 days. So could we sell our property for 237? We could sell for higher. Now we sold this one for 1,400 for 244. So there's a good chance we could sell that property for higher. So I probably listed it like a 259 and then see what happens. We can always lower that property. We could always, we can always lower the property. So I list that property for a little bit higher. So that gives you an idea of how we make offers on property, a logical offer, and it makes sense, and it gives you an exit price and how you spot check that exit price. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you want to learn more on how we're doing deals in this real estate market crash and closing transactions just like this that we made $35,000 on in the middle of nowhere, make sure you click the link below. It's called Bear Market Millions. In Bear Market Millions, I have a free web class that will show you why wholesaling is basically dead in 2023 if you're relying on cash buyers or you're relying on hedge funds. If you want to learn how to do deals like this in markets all across, the market's huge. There's literally no competition for deals like this across the country, that you can do monster deals, no competition. You can get contracts at these lower type prices, use this calculator and go out there and crush it. Register for Bear Market Millions below. Watch that live training, that training that I did. It's amazing. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you want any free giveaways or anything like that, click free F2F giveaways down there, and you can download these calculators that we have. We have some other stuff in there, and I hope this video helps you out, that you don't make high offers and get stuck with the property. Take care. God bless.
I can't take no loss. Yeah. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah.